Hello, Reform UK. Welcome to the Reform Cornwall Conference. Cornwall is such a beautiful place, particularly for me, because it was here a few decades ago that my parents came to live in Truro. My father worked as a paediatrician here, and my little sister was born here. It remains a period of my life I look back on with great fondness, and it's why I know firsthand just how warm, welcoming and delightful the people of Cornwall are. Now we are on a roll, aren't we? What an incredible year it has been. A year ago Nigel was enjoying a, by all accounts, quite lovely retirement. The Tories were on their fourth Prime Minister in 6 years and still importing unfathomable numbers of people at quite alarming rates. Reform was polling at 8%, rising fast under Richard's brilliant leadership, and we had about 15,000 Reform members. Now, a year on, Reform is the talk not just of the United Kingdom but of the Western world. We've captured the hearts and the imaginations of millions to whom we offer hope. We've opened over 400 branches across the country. We've surged to 27% in the average of the polls. We've grown our membership 14-fold. And ladies and gentlemen, as we speak, Nigel Farage is now the bookmaker's favourite to be the next Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Just a few weeks ago, I was with Nigel in Washington, D.C. during the weekend of the inauguration of President Donald Trump. What a marvel it is to see a political leader campaign on a transformative agenda, make a series of promises, get elected, and then deliver most of them within 24 hours of taking office. That signing ceremony was quite something. I haven't seen anything like it. Despite the freezing cold, you could feel the effervescent energy in that city. And that was beautifully encapsulated by an event we attended, hosted by Pete Hegseth, the incoming US Defense Secretary. His vision was a tonic to the weak-kneed apologist gruel that British people have had to endure for decades. With extraordinary presence and charisma, he declared that the United States military, under the direction of President Trump, would revive the warrior ethos, the warrior spirit. He said that war would always be the very last resort, but when US forces did have to fight, they would fight to win. The confidence, the steely determination was something to behold. It's clear that it is morning again in America, and thanks to your hard work, soon we will elect Nigel Farage as our Prime Minister, and it will be morning again in the United Kingdom. The United States is not sorry for their history anymore, sorry for their strengths. The United States is once again walking tall, and soon the United Kingdom will do the same. And speaking of defence, with a new world order being forged in real time, Keir Starmer has suddenly emphasised the importance of Britain spending more on defence. He's reportedly going to say Britain should increase its spending to 2.5% of GDP. Well, given he has an economic hand grenade as Chancellor and the country's hurtling towards a recession, he may well get to that target. Not by raising the actual amount that this country spends on defence, but by reducing this country's GDP. Which is all the more tragic because we all know Britain should be a highly prosperous country, one of the most prosperous in the world. Instead, we languish 26th in the world in terms of real GDP per person. That's despite us having so much going for us. 3 of the top 20 universities in the world are here. A large number of the world's finest engineers are here. And if you're in doubt about that, just go and look around at the offices of DeepMind, or take a look around the Dyson Institute, or the factories that make Rolls-Royce aerospace engines and nuclear modular reactors. We have a leading position in the world in financial services, and we have the best possible time zone. So why is it that the British people get poorer every year in real terms? It's down to the appallingly incompetent and Britain-hating political leadership this country has endured for decades. There's the bureaucratic state that has ballooned to an insane size. 500,000 people are now employed in the civil service, many of whom get to work from home, all being paid on your dime. In the last 7 years, their burden on the taxpayer has rocketed by 50% to £15 billion a year. In the age of AI, with competent leadership, there's no reason that could not be cut in half and still deliver a vastly superior service to the British people. But the problem of the bureaucratic state is much more pernicious than that. They act as a suffocating parasite, feasting on the dynamism and hard work of the British people. We have far too many regulations, far too many regulators, and nowhere near enough builders. Take the ridiculous announcement about the 3rd runway at Heathrow. Even if it does go ahead, Rachel Reeves has confirmed it will be completed in 10 years. 10 years to build a piece of tarmac. Now, this is a country with an incredible pedigree in building incredible things. 175 years ago, Isambard Kingdom Brunel built the Royal Albert Bridge. It's over 2,000 feet long. It carries trains 100 feet above the water. And he built it in 5 years, in the 1850s. China builds a runway in a year. They built their entire international airport in Beijing in 5 years. Britain has been captured by a parasitic bureaucratic class. And when Nigel is the Prime Minister, Britain will once again be the envy of the world for its beautiful architecture and ability to build at speed. Now, we're through the 7-month anniversary from when I became chairman of Reform, and we've achieved a great deal together. Our membership has grown exponentially. We've gone from no branches to over 400 branches across the country. We've gone from 14% of the vote share in the election in June last year to 27% in the average of the polls. And let me tell you this, in case anyone thinks we're in the mood to slow down, on the contrary, we are just getting started. Now, we all know in life that momentum and trajectory are far more important than absolute position. It's true in business, and it's certainly true in politics. Thanks to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, Reform has all of the momentum in British politics. And so terrified of Reform's rise are the two old parties that they've conspired to cancel the votes of millions of voters in the English local elections in May. Labour wrote to the counties and unitary authorities that are supposed to hold elections and asked them, would you like to delay them? Now, the vast majority of these are Tory-controlled. So what do you think those spineless cowardly Tories did when presented with the opportunity to delay contact with their electorate. They said, yes, please. The Tory turkeys were offered the chance to cancel Christmas, ladies and gentlemen, and they eagerly snatched at the opportunity. Well, Labour have delivered their verdict, and over 5 million English people have had their vote robbed from them. But we have a message for the two old parties. You may delay contact with your electorate, you can run, but ultimately you cannot hide. And when those elections are held, you will feel the force of that turquoise tidal wave twice as hard. And is it a surprise that the areas which have requested the cancellation are the ones in which reform support is surging the most? Does that surprise you, ladies and gentlemen? Well, you can harness that anger by firstly signing our petition if you haven't already done so at letthepeoplevote.com. Send it to your friends. 500,000 people have already signed it. Make sure everyone knows just how scared the political establishment are. In fact, you may well have seen yesterday that the Prime Minister is now taking square aim at a party of 5 MPs. Because he knows, ladies and gentlemen, we are his biggest threat at the next general election. He is terrified because reform is shining an intensely bright, disinfecting light on his wretched government, and we have no intention of stopping. But make no mistake, we still have a huge amount of work to do. We must win many, many elections between now and 2029 to succeed in our mission to save this great country. And that's why we need your help. We need you to stand for us as candidates. You can go to our website and apply, and in fact, you'll see teams outside as you leave with whom you can speak, to learn more about it, and even fill out your applications there. We need you to stand to be reform councillors, and we need you to volunteer and to knock on doors and to campaign for reform. Will you do that for us? Well then, I will leave you with this. The latest polls show that if a general election were to be held today, reform would win well over 200 seats, far more than the failing Tory party. Just think about that. We've gone from winning 5 seats just 7 months ago to polling at over 200. We've done that in 7 months. Think of the impact of our 5 MPs to do a sterling job of holding this dystopian Starmer government to account. Imagine that multiplied by 40, 200 of them. Imagine where we can be in a year and by the time of the general election. Ladies and gentlemen, if we work hard, the sky's the limit as to what we can achieve together. We will elect Nigel Farage as our Prime Minister, we'll turn this country around and restore the United Kingdom to its rightful position as the poised, prosperous and powerful country we know it can be. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the rest of the conference.